The crypto markets are starting the new week on a bullish note. Bitcoin at $91,300. And we got a pump last night before there was another brief sell-off. Gold is also pumping, and we'll take a closer look at that as well as everything else we can expect this week. And with that, welcome to a new crypto update video. Yes, as mentioned, Bitcoin at $91,300. This week is going to be very, very exciting, not just because of the Fed, of course, but also the whole Japan situation, and China and Japan are also somehow getting involved. We're definitely going to take a calm look at all of this now. But before we get started, as always, feel free to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you haven't already, definitely feel free to join the free Telegram talk and Signal group. There you'll always find the latest information. Whenever I enter any trades or take any profits, you'll be the first to know in the free Telegram talk and Signal group. And if you're still looking for an exchange where you can trade everything we discuss here, feel free to sign up with my partner exchange BingX. Right now you can secure up to 11,500 USDT in bonuses, just register. And then you can get started right away. And then you can complete a few tasks down here. And then you can get up to 11,500 USDT in bonuses. I think that's a great way to start, especially if you're looking for a new exchange or just want to try one out. All right, but now I'd say let's not waste any time because this video is absolutely packed with content. Bitcoin at 91,300 US dollars. We're still basically in my area, just like we talked about last week. So if you remember, up until or starting from Wednesday last week, I said we definitely dropped down into the range of 89,000 to 88,000 US dollars. That's exactly where we went down to. And over the weekend, nothing happened. Really zero. Absolutely no price action. Then last night, there was that brief weekend's golden pocket again, still all within the expected range. The vector candle here was completely filled. And after that, the price went up. Then during the night, starting around 11 p.m. with the candle, it briefly went down again. The CME gap is still open. So unfortunately, it wasn't closed exactly to the day. So that's still a bit of an uncertainty factor for the next few hours, or rather for today. But on the other hand, the vector candle was filled. That means for now, we don't have any more vectors to the downside that need to be filled. Also, here on the 1 hour time frame, it was filled up to 50%. Only this CME gap remains, and that's a positive sign, especially because we got this red-green vector candle combination here. That's great. For me, at least, that means we should be heading upwards this week. Of course, we also have to see how the Asia range closes. We'll take a look at that as well. Or I'll keep you updated later in the Telegram group once everything is closed so that we have the range for this week. What else is there to report at the moment? Yes, some data came out of Japan last night. The gross domestic product has decreased, but that doesn't change the fact, as also described here on Bloomberg, that in the end interest rates are still supposed to be raised. That's still a bit of an uncertainty factor, not just the Fed on Wednesday, we've talked about that often enough already, but the whole Japan story. And if we look at the 10-year bonds, they're already rising again as we head into Monday. That's not necessarily a good sign, but all right, let's see what else comes out of it. In any case, Bitcoin is still fully in play, in my opinion, heading at least, like I said yesterday in the live stream, towards the 95K scenario, which is the minimum we should reach, also because of our heat map here. If we zoom in here, we can see the largest cluster between 94, and now there's even a small cluster forming above that, as you can see. This area here definitely wasn't this full yesterday. We can also filter it a bit so that only larger orders are shown, but still up here at least a bit more is slowly forming. That's a positive sign, showing that we can at least move upwards, especially if we look at the funding rates. Yeah, they're still normal. So they're positive, but not yet at a normal state. That's a positive sign that at least we can move upwards. But I also have to say I've adjusted my expectations down a bit. We should at least still reach 95,000. 98,000 would be my best case scenario at the moment. But I don't really believe that anymore. And that's also partly due to the time factor, because Wednesday is already significant. Next week, Japan, so we probably won't get that high anymore. Towards 104 to 110. At least that scenario is becoming a bit less likely. From a fractal perspective, it would fit no problem, but in terms of the time required, in my opinion, it's getting increasingly difficult for us to push into this upper area. But all right, let's wait and see for now. We're still positioned long on Bitcoin, and now let's take a look at the altcoins to see how things are looking there. And things actually don't look too bad there either. So Ethereum is still performing very, very well at $3,123. We did have that shakeout yesterday, but even that wasn't really a problem. That has to be said at this point. So here too, we're still positioned long. And of course, with regard to this current week, nothing is really changing at the moment. So I'm still staying long. The wave 3 target is up here between $3,500 and $4,000. Maybe over time we can narrow it down a bit more. But at the moment, it's simply too early to make any kind of prediction here. 3.5 to 4K, I would definitely say that's absolutely within the realm of possibility in a normal time frame. Let's take another look here, shall we? Let's check out the funding rates for Ethereum to see if they look a bit better. Yeah, they're also relatively stable, just like with Bitcoin at the moment. So let your longs run, please take profits, set your stop loss at entry, and then you'll be protected for the week. If it keeps going up, okay, awesome, next take profit. If we go down, well, then right now we just don't have a short entry, but honestly, I still prefer it that way. Rather than going short here already, because the risk that we just pump upwards, also due to the Fed and other news coming out this week, like the JOLTS data, and I think on Thursday we also have the 30-year bond auctions, is just too high. So there's definitely a lot coming our way. Solana, yeah, there's really not much to say about it either. So down here was the buy zone. You can see for yourselves there's hardly any price action there. For me, or in my opinion, Solana is a complete disappointment at the moment because there's just way too little happening. I mean, basically nothing is happening here at this point ever since we've been having issues here with the $145 mark. So honestly, sorry, but at the moment, this is just complete nonsense, at least from a chart perspective with Solana. But well, even here, we theoretically still have the chance to reach the range of $157 to $170, theoretically. The question is, do we have the power? I kind of doubt it at the moment, except for pumping up by 17 or even 26%. As I said, I doubt it. Feel free to share your opinion in the comments. Then let's move on to gold. And gold is pumping at the start of the week, but that's also because China has, I believe, for the 13th month in a row, bought gold. And how? That also leads us to slowly but surely move into our B wave up here, meaning into our top zone. We're getting in here $4,278 to $4,328. $4,328. That's the zone I still want to get into. If we get up there, I'll activate a short. You know, we still have our long position open here at Pionex, meaning our bot. I'll leave that one running as well. Of course, I'll take profit, but at the same time, I'll definitely open a short here as well, so that in the end, we've got both sides covered. That feels a bit safer to me than a regular trade. Of course, you can also do it the regular way. You can do it as a regular trade on BingX, but I'd probably prefer to do it on Pionex and just trade crypto as usual on BingX. That already looks good. So let's move on to silver. Silver is also still pumping very steadily up here. Honestly, I'm really struggling to find any short entries here. At the moment, I'm still fully focused on long here, even though I don't have any open positions. Let's just wait and see. If anything, I'll probably focus more on gold rather than on silver because there's simply more volatility here, and of course the risk is also significantly higher. All right, then let's move on to the traditional markets. I already said it yesterday in the live stream, I suspect everywhere, whether it's the Dow Jones, the Nasdaq, or the S&P 500, you can see there's not much missing to reach the all-time high. The markets should definitely reach that this week before we get this rollover. That means all-time high also here with the S&P 500. Just think about it, we're currently at 6,800 points away from the all-time high. If we look at it, there's only a little bit missing right now, 0.59%. Everyone is piling into longs and everywhere else as much as possible. And then the thing crashes next week. That's why I'm still sticking with 1.5 weeks. That way we still have time to pump. 1 week is now over out of the 2.5 I announced last week. So 1.5 weeks left. There's still time to let the prices pump. After that, things will get critical. And this week, I'm keeping a very close eye on the volatility index. Because here too, we still have vectors open up here in the 30 range. We even still had a Corona wick open at 80. If we see any kind of trend reversal here, I will definitely start to slowly but surely prepare myself. And I hope that Bitcoin will be at least at 95 to 98,000 so that we can somehow build up a short position. I'm definitely curious. This week could be or will be anything but uneventful. And what we definitely need to keep an eye on are government bonds. Japan at 1.96, the 10-year bonds, the 20-year at 2.95, and the 30-year at 3.39. Friends, if they somehow get the idea and say, we're suddenly raising interest rates now and don't care at all about that one date, I think it's December 19th, if that's the case, we'd have a problem. But all right, let's see. Fed interest rate decision. Let's take a look right now to see if anything has changed, but it's still at 87%. This week is definitely going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to it. And we'll also be live tomorrow. Live on Wednesday, live on Thursday. You can definitely look forward to that. Otherwise, I'd say I hope you're now well prepared to start this week. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And of course, feel free to join the free Telegram group. That's it from me. I wish you a great and successful start to the week. We'll talk again later, but there's also a new stocks update on the Smart Crypto channel. So that's it from me. Until then, ciao, ciao, stay crypto.